What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Arias in the Nation. And I have an awesome guest today, everyone. All right, look, guys, we have moved heaven and earth to get this in front of you.
No
All right,
kidding.
Maria from Why Am I Reacting? What, Thank you for making time out of your busy day. I know summers usually are like I would say people's busiest times of year.
Mhm.
And just having our schedules finally align is nice. But I know I've been wanting to have you on the channel for a while because yeah, just because we get to know everyone on this side of things.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's always so interesting to meet new people and find out what everybody's doing, behind the scenes too. So
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting when you like when you I feel like when I started reacting, right, it was I don't know, it's like this curtain, right? You finally get to put up videos, you kind of understand what goes on behind the scenes, and you start feeling somewhat like an island almost,
Mhm. Oh
right?
yeah.
And it's good to get other people's perspectives and know that they're kind of they started the same way.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, we all hit that brick wall. Like, what do I do now? You
Uh-huh.
know, but no, seeing your channel and seeing it blow up and kind of like you've only been at this for a year and
Yeah.
you've done so much content. And I have to ask you one thing, but I'll save that for later.
Okay.
Um, I'm not going to ask you your favorites. I've done that before. I stepped in it, and I just I'm not going to lead you into that den of craziness. If if I were to ask you what has been one reaction that that stood apart from, I guess, your normal everyday routine. I don't know how you get to choose a video. Do you have people comment a lot? You get the most comments. How do you choose a video or something to react to? Like, what's your schedule look like or process?
So I think that process has evolved over the last year.
Hmm.
So like kind of stepping back a second from that, I started this entire channel on a whim. It
Okay.
wasn't something that I went in and said, "Oh, how do I do this? I'm going to be like a content creator." No, I couldn't walk for 7 weeks. I had ankle surgery and I wanted another stream of income. So I was like, I'll give it a try. Why not?" And it just turned into what it is now. And
Yeah.
like I'm very, very blessed with that. But originally when I started, I hadn't really listened to music or watched TV or anything for like
Okay.
5 to 7 years probably. I mean, I was like living under a rock. I was kind of like I guess when I stopped listening to music, I was kind of disappointed with what I was hearing in music.
Fair.
And I just the secular music was a real turnoff for me. And I don't listen to it today. I truly don't. Um and so um I had no idea where to start. I actually asked my brother, I
Okay.
asked family members, "Hey, like, what are you listening to that you, because I don't listen to anything. So what are you listening to right now that you think I should listen to?" And everybody gave me like one or two songs. And I think Tennessee Whiskey was the first one from Chris Stapleton, and I love that song.
Man.
Um, and so, from there, it just kind of progressed. And then um, I did one from Angelina Jordan when she was like 9, and it was "I Put a Spell on You." And apparently, there were a couple people who watched, and they reached out to me because I put in the description box like, "Here's how you can contact me, and like tell me what you want to hear," because I had no clue.
Yeah.
And two people reached out to me, and then they started like kind of giving me some advice like, "Hey, why don't you put this in your comments, and you should like mention ways to like connect with the artist and stuff." And so I do that now, and it started because of those two particular individuals.
Oh, cool.
And it started with Angelina Jordan. That's when it really kind of started like seeing like some movement. But I was doing Eminem, I was doing NF. I mean, and I'll listen to just about anything, right? I never really listened to Eminem before I started doing this channel because I was never
Wow.
someone
Okay.
who
Yeah.
I'm always been very eclectic in my taste, but I never really gravitated towards any kind of rap music. So like you said Eminem and I knew who it was. I mean, I didn't live that far under the rock, right?
Yeah.
I knew
True.
who it was, but
Yep.
I never really listened to any of his music. And so I started, and I actually like Eminem now. I haven't done any of his newer stuff that just came out from Houdini because I have so many other things that I've got to get done first.
True.
And then from there, you know, people would email me. People would leave, you know, comments for me like, hey, you should check this out from this artist. If you like this artist, you're going to love that artist. And so it just kind of started doing like this whole, you know, like Susie chain. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like you connect one to the other to the other. It's like doing a bunch of extension cords one to another.
Yep.
Another.
Yep. Like a daisy chain.
Daisy
Exactly.
chain, that's what it's called.
Yep.
And so yeah, but now because I listen to so much music doing the channel, things are always coming up in my feed and I'm like, oh, that looks interesting, let's check it out. And then I have people who like to sponsor requests, and
Okay.
so I find out about artists that way too. And you know, Fred and Thomas and Gay, and I have a new person who sent me a request, and I haven't had, you know, I've been, you know, really crazy with my schedule and recovering from COVID and all of that. So I have a list of songs that I need to do. And when I started, like, I didn't know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about some of the software that you could use. Like I was using my cell phone.
Wow.
And I was using, I use a laptop still to do everything. I don't have a tower. I want to get one. I haven't gotten one yet. So I could do live streams because I'm very interested in doing those. And so, yeah, like it's just been, now the selection process is a little bit more like,
Honed
ooh, I
in.
really like Tommy Johansson and he just came out with a new song. Let's go review it. Or Dan Bask, or, you know, if you have something from Simone Simmons, or, you know, I don't know why my brain isn't functioning. I'm tired.
It's all right. I
Exhausted, but I have so many artists in my head. Electric Callboys, or you know, if you have Ayu Guzman, which is someone who makes me feel inadequate as a human being because she's a child and can shred a guitar as well as Tommy Johansson, or Stevie Ray. I mean, she did a Stevie Ray Vaughan song and did it amazingly. And so,
wow.
you know, I get to hear and learn about new music. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess that's how my process is now.
Yeah, it's funny how like it what takes off, and it could be random. It could be, for me it was random. You
Mhm.
know, for me I wanted to listen to classic rock but live, you know, because
Yeah.
I grew up listening to classic rock, and I was like, you know, this would be interesting. Put some Black Sabbath on, and I'll watch like a live performance, and no one was there for it. And then one person in the comment section, good friend of the channel, suggested I do Nightwish, and
Oh,
from there it just took off.
yeah.
And it was super hard to keep up with the requests, with, because I didn't have a formula to kind of sort of get to a certain artist at a certain time. It was like all of it, you
Mhm.
know. And I've that's one of the things that I would say led to me burning out,
Yeah.
is I was trying to water multiple plants from multiple camps at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm like, am I really about to release 6 videos a day, you
Yeah,
know,
and that's
to
where I
keep
was.
everyone happy? And I'm like, it's impossible. It's
Yeah, no.
impossible.
I found, like, in the beginning, I was doing maybe 2 or 3 songs a day, and then
Mhm.
it slowly crept up to 3 or 4, and then it went from 4 to 5, and then I was doing 6 a day, and I suffered burnout, like, so
Yep.
badly I suffered burnout, and then I said, "Okay, I'm gonna scale back," and I scaled back to, um, no more than 3, 4 if I was feeling frisky, right?
Yeah.
And then um, Old School reached out to me and we started talking. Great guy, real
Oh
great
yeah.
guy. Love him to death. And he reached out to me and he and I started talking and I was telling him, you know, what I was doing. He was like, slow down because it's affecting XYZ things. when you do more than 2 a day. And so I was like, oh, I did not know that. So since then, I won't do more than 2. If I'm really busy, I will only do 1 a day.
Yep.
Um, and it makes it hard to do a lineup because there's all these great songs that in the back of my mind, it's like, I want this song and I want that song. And, I kind of have to learn which competing priority do I want to pay attention to the most.
Very, very true. And it's funny because we're on the benefiting side of it all, because our mind, our world is open to new music. And if you weren't open to new music, you wouldn't be doing this because you
Mhm.
have to be. You
Yeah.
have to listen with an open ear. You know, are there some? Did it shock you? I'm trying to word my question very carefully. Uh, did some artists shock you with the turnout or lack of turnout for their videos?
No, none of them. And the whole reason why is because I didn't know who was popular and who wasn't. All I knew is that I had a request. What the only one I will say that, and this was like in the very beginning, and I was still learning how the process was. Now
Mhm.
it's not so much like that, but Dimash,
Yeah,
Dimash, him, I did one song for him. And then all of a sudden, the next day, it was like 600 new followers. And I said, oh, okay,
yeah,
well, apparently he's very popular and never heard of the guy before in my life. And I was like, well, he's very popular. And then I started getting all of these music. I fell in love with his music. I mean, I love his music. He's
yeah.
incredibly talented. Um, but that was like in the very beginning. That was like within the first 3 or 4 months when I, had found out about him. And I thought it was pretty amazing how quickly you can jump in one day and then struggle to have like 5 or 6 new subscribers a day
Very
the
true.
very next week. It's very, and so now I look at it like, as long as it's consistently moving,
Yeah,
that's all I look for, because I like doing this. And the more people that watch, the more I get, requests and stuff like that as well.
yeah.
And I enjoy meeting people. Um, and I enjoy growing those relationships via email or on the comments or on Instagram, wherever the case may be. And so there's something in it for me that's more than just music. It's also getting to know people that are all around the world. And I like to travel, so it's kind of cool. Like if I'm talking to somebody who is like, "Oh, you're from London? I'm going to London in March. Can you tell me someplace I can go to get a good plate of food?"
Yeah.
And you have these people to tell you about this, and it's pretty cool to do that. So,
That's it. It's awesome what doors music opens.
hmm
It's like everyone enjoys music,
hmm
and you tap into this thing, and then it's kind of like before. I don't know where I was before with music. I think I was all over the place. I
hmm
wouldn't say I had a genre, but the symphonic metal side, I never really even knew existed, right,
hmm
at all, because that's not what's playing on the radio.
yeah,
Wasn't a big fan of the radio to begin with, but it's like this music, this genre. Not only is it insanely amazing, it comes with an amazing community,
yeah,
and that's what shocked me the most out here on the internet, where people can have their knives out at certain times.
yeah.
Um,
I've
the
seen that.
the metal scene is just loving and embracing and welcoming,
Yeah.
and that's what blew me away. That's what made me fall in love with the genre first before I fell in love with the music, if that makes any sense.
And me, a little of A and a little of B.
Mhm.
I gravitate towards guitars anyway. My father, he started learning when he was 6 years old,
Okay.
and he's like almost 70 now, and he still plays the guitar. He's like 4 to 5 different guitars. I tried to learn, it
Wow.
didn't work. It's bad. It's really, I can't sing. I will break your computer. I can't play the guitar because I'll break my hands. It's just going to happen. But he like I so anytime I hear the guitar, I immediately gravitate towards it. And I'm listening to these genres of different metal, different rock, and the subgenres, and I have found that I really, really do appreciate and enjoy listening to those that come from Europe.
Mhm.
It doesn't sound like anything here in stateside,
Yeah.
and like I love hearing the lyrics, because I'm very much a lyrics person. I'll stop for a guitar solo for sure. But the music actually has meaning to it. They're telling a
Yes.
story, or they're giving you some type of history. I mean, Sabaton gives you a history lesson. Like
Ooh,
I would have loved to have had that in my history class when I was in school.
right.
Do you know
Right.
how much more I would have paid attention?
Even if you start singing a Sabaton song back, you're reciting history.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what am I doing? This is amazing.
And when you have that kind of content and you have that kind of emphasis in your lyrics, I appreciate it so much more.
Yeah.
So a lot of the songs that are from Europe, the songs themselves are not just superficial at best. I mean, they are
Yeah.
very in depth and they have a lot going for them. And so I end up listening to a lot of the music. And then my daughter, apparently she loves metal. And that's a switch because she used to listen to like, it's so funny. She started with country, went to metal. No, I'm sorry, went to rap, then
Okay.
went to metal. And then when she heard that I had done Ronald from Falling in Reverse,
Falling
and
in
I'd
Reverse.
never heard of this band, never listened to any of their music. I just said, "Oh, that looks pretty cool with that whole eyes on the thumbnail and stuff." And it was like the coolest, like superhero type of looking, badass song. And when she says, she's like, "Mom, I'm so proud of you," and I'm like, you know what? I used to be cool. And then I became a mom, but I used to be cool. Okay. So it's like you hear all of these really interesting songs, and I don't know where Fallen in Reverse hails from, but I thought that the song, when everybody started explaining the song to me, like, oh, this is like the most extreme song they've done, for you to start with that one, number one. But number
Yeah.
two, it's like, this is all of his songs, and it's like his name is Ronald. And I'm like, oh, that makes so much more sense, because I'm like so ditzy. I don't know. I go in blind.
You're like, what is this? Who is this about? Ronald? What
Yeah.
Ronald? Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I just thought it looked cool, and I don't know where anybody hails from typically. But Hammerfall was another great one, and I had shown that to my daughter. And so, like, my daughter and I were now talking about music more, because I'm listening to music that she would actually listen to, but maybe not that exact same
Got it.
group, but the genre itself. And so she and I were talking about it, and she'll go into my car, and now she'll play the radio, and I have like the whole Sirius XM thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she found a radio station that was playing Hammerfall and was playing Nightwish. And I was like, what? Since when? Because
You're
I'm
like,
never here
yes.
stateside. And I'm like, wait,
Yes.
keep that on my favorites right beside the message. So I'll have Christian music and metal music, and it'll be all hilarious, right?
It's like, hey, don't hit next. Don't hit that next one, because that's a
Oh no,
complete
what I
contrast.
do, what I told my daughter, it's like, depending on my mood, is you'll know which one my mood is.
Oh man, it's like we pull up to the house, you hear the metal, you're like, oh, she's in
Yeah.
that mood.
She's about to go. It's about to go down.
Has which okay, I think this is safe. This is a safe question to ask. Which of the bands that you've checked out made your playlist first,
From the metal genre?
or from any of the genres you've checked out? Because I feel like it's impossible to.
Dan Bast.
Okay,
Dan
fair.
Bast. When he
Hey.
did Amazing Grace.
Yep.
He was one of my first playlist songs. And I actually, like, I finished watching Amazing Grace, and I subscribed to him right then and there while I was still recording. And that was like the first person I'd done that with. The other one was Five Finger Death Punch, when I heard the song Judgment Day.
That's a good one.
But before then, like, there were other songs that were appearing on the play. You know how, like, you have a playlist, but then other songs kind of show. And so Home Free was on there, and Voice Play. And so when I started this channel, I didn't know what music I was going to be listening to. And it certainly has changed a whole lot over the last year, but I was doing a lot of a cappella groups. I was doing,
man, that Home Free, my God.
That's actually the first concert in my life that I went to go see, and it was last year in November. I'd never been to a concert my entire life until November of last year, and it was Home Free was the first one.
How was it? Was it as awesome as it looks like?
Oh my gosh. It was awesome, and it was in this weird way so cool, because Tim, the bass, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he hits that bass, the whole floor shakes beneath you.
I bet.
Quite literally. I'm not exaggerating. He did it like 4 or 5 times, and every time my foot was getting a massage underneath the ground, because it's like everything vibrated.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, because I saw that in the back, in the older videos that you've released. It's like you started with Chris Stapleton, and then
Mhm.
I saw a smattering of Home Free. I'm like, oh, very. It's like very interesting journey. Like me and my buddy, we reacted to Home Free on my other channel, and it was just I fell in love with. I started with pentatonics,
Yeah, I
and
have them.
so I unfortunately I have been current because a lot of people come out of the woodwork like, why don't you have any Home Free or pentatonics on your channel? Like, well, I'm not going to give you a reaction to a song I've already listened to. So if
Yeah.
I'm current, and there's some artists where I don't react to because I am a current fan of their music. Like,
Mhm.
I stay current. I'm not going to give you a reaction to it. And Home Free was one of them, is where I was to the I'm current
Yeah.
100%. So the
Mhm.
acapella groups just never made it on the channel because I love that. I started with that. Those were my original rabbit holes.
Yeah. Well,
Was
and for me, like I didn't know about any of them.
man,
And so like when you see any reaction from me and it's a brand new artist on the channel, I go in knowing zero about them. I purposefully do that because I want it to be an intentional reaction.
yeah,
After the first song, it's no longer a first time reaction to the artist. So I go and I look them up and I read the comments and people tell me about. Some people get upset about it. I'm like, you know what, build a bridge, get over it.
yep,
Um, but I'll do the looking up. I'll look up Wikipedia. I'll look up websites. I'll do all the things, right, to find out about the artist, and I'll ask the questions during the songs if I can't find the information to my question. But that first song from any new artist is
just
always a blind
just
reaction.
just
I want
right
to
in.
go in with zero bias. I don't want to know anything about the artist. I don't know what kind of music they're playing. I don't want to know the genre that they're playing. All I want to know is their name and the name of the song, and I will take a listen. I mean, that's how I found out Fallen in Reverse. That's how I found out about Jelly Roll, because every time I say his name, I think of donuts. I love donuts.
Yeah,
And so and when I heard him, I was like, he looks a little intimidating. And then he opens his mouth, and I'm like, whoa, this is an amazing artist. And I would have never thought so. And that came by via request. And everybody's like, what, don't you stud? Like, if you go on a trip, don't you plan your trip? I was like, yeah, but I'm not going on a trip. I'm going on a journey, a musical journey. This is very different. I don't need a map for a musical journey. I need
yeah,
to be open minded for a musical journey. And that's what some people fail to realize
yeah. I
sometimes.
I don't even pay attention to those comments anymore.
Yeah.
Like, those are just, I'm just like, you just needed to type something, I guess, because it makes no
Yeah.
sense. It's a reaction. If I brought to you like the Wikipedia facts and the Google facts, like, here
Mhm.
you go, guys. This is about this. Like, that's not a react. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
it really isn't. And my thing is like I tend to ask questions that you're not going to find on Wikipedia,
Yeah.
you know? Um when the first time I heard Liliac, I didn't even know Liliac was a Romania. I didn't even know they were Romanian. People started flooding my comments with it. I was like, "Oh, cool." But I was asking kind of like asking questions, and I'm like, "Why does she give me this Steven Tyler vibe when she does those squeals?" I'm like she has an inner Steven Tyler, and then come to find out, like that was a huge compliment. Didn't know because I never
Oh,
heard of him before. So it's
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I enjoy what I do, and I enjoy the reactions that I get from people watching the reaction.
That's awesome. And plus, I feel like we're out there bringing music to, especially some new light on music, or new spotlight on people that maybe normally wouldn't choose to listen to that artist or genre for the
Mhm.
first time with you, because I feel like it's it's safer. I don't know what it means. Like, I don't know, because like, you go on a ride with someone, let's say a reaction channel, and you never experienced that artist before, and it's like when you watch a reaction channel, it's like we're sitting together, like we're in the car together,
Mhm.
and I'm trusting you with the aux cord. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
And it's I feel like it's easier for me to digest new music
Mhm.
like that with someone,
Yeah.
so there have been certain channels that I've watched with them, like their reactions. I'm like, oh man, and I feel like I'm always chomping at the bit, like, or when I was doing the 6 videos a day. You know, I had my blinders on. I couldn't watch what YouTube was doing because I was so busy. And I was like, okay, I can't click on this video. I don't want to get swayed by someone else's reaction to the video, you
Mhm.
know. But once I was done with that reaction, I would check on to see if any of my other friends in the community had done a reaction to them. And I would watch it immediately after I was done
Yeah.
just to see, oh, this is a cool thing they picked out, because I'm just an absorber of music. I'm not an artist, not a musician, not a singer. Like I just like listening to music,
Yeah, I
whatever
mean,
it
the only
is.
thing I can play is a radio, I'm sure.
Yes. Yes,
Mm,
I'm right there with you. But so your trips, your business trips now, like that you go on, and the reason you've been so busy lately,
mhm.
your cultivated playlists, I bet they're all changed. I bet they've been all like influenced by your channel.
They are influenced by my channel, but I will tell you, I have an old soul vibe about me as well. So I will listen to Solomon Burke. I will listen to Sam Cooke. I, listen to, Linda Ronstadt and Blue Bayou. And I recovered that song on the channel. And then once I heard her music, I was like, I really like this song. But I like those old school songs just as much as I like the newer things.
Yeah.
But in my car, I'm a rock star, but I feel like I can kind of keep up with that that tune. I
Yeah.
can't keep up with the tune of metal music. I can't do it. And harsh vocals, no, that's not happening. I get a sore throat. So
I like, that's one of those things that the doors open with this, with what we do, right? Is the harsh vocals. Before I didn't know enough to
mm,
like understand what it was, you know,
no.
and slowly I think through Epica kind
Mhm.
of really helped me open that door into understanding more of the art form behind the harsh vocals, you
Yeah.
know, and I appreciated it more. But you know, that's where the community shone,
Hmm.
because they were like, okay, this is like the harder stuff, this is the softer stuff,
Hmm.
you know, this helps you prepare for them.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I my voice is going to be super raspy because of the cough. I can't get rid of the cough.
Hmm.
It doesn't leave. Um, but no, Epica was one of those ones that kind of shifted my gears into the harsh vocals, and I appreciate it more.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. You jumped into Falling in Reverse with their latest, like not
Yeah.
their. I guess it's not their latest song because they have the other one
With
out
Jelly
now.
Roll, right? Uh-huh.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Uh, which I thought was a really brilliant video. It was hilarious. And I actually did the reaction with my nephew who's staying with us this weekend. And he looked at me afterwards. He's like, that was insane with the unicorn. I'm like, I know, right? The unicorn. I'm like, where did that even come from? And I told him, I was like, that's why you never know what you're going to get with these videos. And I think he appreciates that. And you know, when it comes to harsh vocals and stuff, I think my big introduction to the harsh vocals was Electric Callboys, and that was old school,
Oh man.
being old
Yeah.
school and starting me off with "We've Got the Moves." And when I first saw that song, I just felt like I was looking at Vector from the Minions,
Yes.
from Despicable Me. And then
Yes.
and it was also a cross of Dumb and Dumber, like
Yep.
with the bowl-shaped head, and I'm a very observant person. Like I try to observe everything that's going on in the video, and I at the very end, I thought it was so funny, like they're dancing in someone else's yard. And I loved it. I loved the quirkiness of the music, even though there was all this harsh vocals. And then when they stopped doing the harsh vocals, like, wait a minute, they can actually sing. And they
That
had a
surprised
great
me.
musicality,
Yep.
and even if I don't understand what the heck they're saying with the harsh vocals, the thing is like it's injected in the right places, and I don't think people understand that. Like I think it's intimidating, it's very much in your face, and you don't understand like the art that they're doing is they're
Yeah.
injecting it into the right place so that it continues to feel hype. Or you take someone like Leo Moracchioli and
Hmm.
his puppets. I love his puppets.
Oh, they're awesome.
Like I
They're
heard
awesome.
the row your boat one, and I was like, that's the nursery rhyme I didn't even know I needed in my life. I
Yeah.
showed it to my daughter, and she said, whenever I have kids, mom, this is the song I'm playing for my child. And I was
Yep.
like, I don't blame you, because they have puppets and it's really awesome, right? And you find such an appreciation. And what I say a lot in my videos is, show me your artistry. You can take a song like Row Your Boat and do that with it, and it's the most awesome thing you've ever heard. Or even when he took Adele's Hello.
Hello.
And I looked at it
Oh
like, this
man.
is the most hilarious bromance that you've ever seen. And it's not that he's doing anything different with the song, right? It's just his facial expressions when you see him singing it.
He's very animated.
Oh, he's such an anime. I love how perspective changes when you look at someone, or when you're viewing music. Like, for example, with Leo Maracchioli, I looked at him and I was like, he was a school teacher. Why would he leave being a school teacher to do this? And now I look at it, it's like, why were you ever a school teacher to begin with? You should have been doing this the entire
Yeah.
time. And so it's like it flips on its axis, and you don't even realize like how your perspective changes on these artists as well. And I have found that to be truly remarkable, in my own thought process. I don't know about anybody else. I can't speak for them, but in my own thought process, I started noticing like the way I view music now is not how I viewed it when I was much younger. I view it much differently now, because there is an artistry there, and someone who can take a song and a ballad and put it to a metal epic power ballad, like,
Yeah.
or a genre, or someone who takes, what was the song that, geez, it was Tommy Johansson did it.
Which you have to be a little more specific.
Oh gosh. And I was like, I hated this song. I absolutely hated this song.
Is it any of the ABBA ones? Oh,
The Ace of Base one. Which one was, what's the name of the song? Was it
The
I Saw the
Sign?
Sign?
No, I thought
No, All That She Wants.
All That She Wants. Yep.
I absolutely hated that song growing up. I cannot tell you how much I loathed this song. It's like listening to Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You, on the radio during Christmas time. Like, you don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
She can sing. That's not the problem. The problem is I don't like you singing this particular song. So this is the same way that I felt about this song. And yet I love the way he did it. And it's so amazing to me. Like, you can take a song and you can make it better. And it's not your original song, but you could have told me it was his song and I'd have believed you,
Yep.
because he just did something totally cool with it and changed it. And I'm like, show me your artistry. That's what I want. Like, I want to see people being creative.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, it's revitalizing to something that I would say, for that very specific example, was dead to me. Like, he's taken songs that have been absolutely beaten to death, where I could do without ever hearing again, and fixing them. Like, okay, nothing wrong with the original ever. I could live the rest of my life never hearing that song and be completely fine. But he revitalizes it. And like you said, like Electric Callboy, Dan Vasc, Tommy Johansson, those guys, man, they revitalize songs, and that takes artistry in and of itself. Like, just it's like next level creativity.
Oh yeah.
And I love that. I absolutely love that we can witness this stuff. And I feel like reactions really slowed me down as far as actually making the time to appreciate the art, the music, the effort. Before, I was just absorbing. It was a backtrack to my busy life. It wasn't the main staple. Like, I didn't have time to sit back and ingest the Pink Floyd experience. I was too busy.
Yeah.
But now in this chair on this side of things, it's forced me to slow down and pick up on either the lyricism or the artistry, or the theater, the spectacle around it, because there's a lot of times on our channel, the Mosh, I don't know what he's saying. Like, I just don't, but I feel it and I can see it.
And you can kind of interpret it from there.
And I can interpret it. And and that's what it is. And I'm like, man, if I can approach this, not even knowing the language this man's speaking in, singing in, and I love it, that says something. That's next level, And I've had a couple artists on the channel that I'm just like, what? Don't really know it, but I'm there for it. It's like equally riveting. And it took this process on YouTube to kind of help me take that next level of appreciation. Where before I would just brush it off. I was just too busy.
Yeah.
So, but the other question I was going to ask you real quick is, you do more than just reacting. I see you have an Etsy shop.
Yes.
Like, what? So that's so you are creating your own artwork. Like, how are you putting that on shirts and stuff? I like your Father's Day shirt. I do like that shirt.
But I have a whole bunch of them in there
Yes.
that I made. I've kind of stopped on Etsy a little bit. I've slowed down on Etsy because I'm not getting much traffic. I do have a merch link that's through Printify.
Okay.
But I keep asking, whenever I do the reactions, like, what do you guys want to see? Like, drop it in the comments, but no one ever says anything. So I guess I'm gonna have to get a little bit creative with it. I don't know. It's hard for me to be artistic in that way. I can build things with my hands very easily and make beautiful works of art, but I cannot paint or design for crap on a t-shirt logo.
Got it.
So I try very hard and I struggle with it sometimes. Which is why you don't see a whole lot of logo stuff with me, because it just no,
Yeah.
that.
I gotcha.
But so I have that. Like I said, like we told you before we had started, I have a TikTok shop and I do, reactions to products
That's
on
kind of
TikTok
cool.
shop, which is a different type of reaction. So, and then of course, I link stuff. If you want to get it, here it is. So I have that, and Instagram, I'm not really doing too much with. I do have a Discord, but I don't even know how to use it. Like, I am not, the fact that I'm even doing reactions is a miracle. Do you understand? My husband's on the payroll to be the tech. I am not a tech guy. I am not a tech guy. I have a hard enough time working my cell phone. Okay. The fact that I do any of this is a pure miracle. Okay. Because I am not that person.
No.
Okay. I don't have a cool setup like you do. I'm sure my setup is like all crazy. If you looked at my desk right now, it's all kinds of crazy. Okay. It's like,
my setup has come through sweat and tears and lots of error, a little bit of trial, but almost all error. Like, I get the weird things. I don't push buttons. I try not to push buttons.
I don't even worry about the errors, because now it just pops up like little boxes of all these error messages, and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, whatever. Just hit record. There we go. Hi, I'm here. And that's about as far as it goes with me. Like, the fact that I can do the things that I'm doing right now is just because I'm too stubborn to give up.
Love that.
And so my parents kind of like instilled that in me. Like, they say, okay, if you can't do this, if you've done all you can, and you've given it your best shot, then and you don't want to do it anymore, or you think like this is just not for you, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you feel like you can do it, you don't quit until you get to where you're going. And so I'm very ambitious in my mindset. I'm like, extremely ambitious in my mindset.
Ambitious with a mixture of stubborn in there. And I love that. I love that. Just like, make it so.
Well,
make it happen.
If you're not pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, you don't grow. Right? Like, it's no different than if you work out and your muscles are sore, but the next day you feel stronger. That's how this is for me. And so every day that I do a reaction, every day that I do an Etsy design, or I do a Printify design, or I'm going to do something on TikTok, or I'm looking for slogans, or trying to be witty and find new ways to like have streams of income or something like that. Right. Every time I'm doing that, I have to go in with the mindset like, it could fail and that's fine, but you don't give up until you've exhausted every possibility. And so I'm constantly pushing myself outside of that.
Yeah, that's very important. Very important. Yeah. My ethos is, if I'm going to fail, it's going to be spectacularly. Like,
I love that.
It's going to be you're going to want to be near me when I fail, because it's going to be legendary. So it's, I feel like the reaction side of things, the YouTube side of things, is so different. I feel like we're very akin to approaching this YouTube thing, because I still have trouble explaining what it is that I'm trying to do, or I think I do, to my father. Like,
Yeah.
what do you do? I don't know, but I'm there doing it, because it's a weird sell. It's a weird, because very traditional work, grind, sweat mindset. This is so different. It's vastly different than that. And but the mental tiredness is still
Real.
there.
No,
It's
it's real.
like there have been times, and I think I'm going to try to tie this into what I want to ask you. Um, I've worked harder in my life. I've worked a lot harder in my life than I do when I'm in front of the
Mhm.
screen. I've sweat, bled, all this stuff
Mhm.
more than you do, but I'm still exhausted, like
Mhm.
same level exhausted when I'm done recording videos.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to tell my wife, she's like, why are you tired? You're just in your office watching YouTube. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. It's just something is mentally just it, because I feel like we put everything inside of the reaction.
Yes.
You emotionally connect with what you're watching, and if you do
Mhm.
that over and over and over again, it's it's weird. You step away and you're drained.
Yeah, you are. Because there's physical exhaustion, and then there's like mental exhaustion. And as someone who has always worked, desk jobs basically, right? Um, there have been times where I work 12 to 16-hour days in an office, and I get home and I pass out and go to sleep because my brain needs to shut down, and
Yeah,
it doesn't shut down that quickly. Whereas your body might feel like it needs to shut down, but it's too sore to shut down. So you
yeah,
have a different type of exhaustion. It's very taxing on the brain to do what you do every day and then do this as well. And it's not as easy to react as people think. Like when I started doing this, I was like thinking to myself, well, I know what I want to say, but I don't want to be like, you have to be careful about what you say too, right? Because you don't want the YouTube gods to come over
yep,
there and like destroy you, right? So you have to be careful about what you say, but you also don't want to be lying. You don't want to sugarcoat things. You don't want to, I try to be as even keel as I can be about reactions. And if I see something that, regardless of what the artist or what the topic is, because I could say a whole lot about Tom McDonald. I could also say a whole lot about Home Free, and I can say a whole lot about another, artist out there,
hmm,
Dax or somebody, right?
yeah,
And everybody has opinions.
yep,
Everybody has opinions, and my opinions are not always going to align up with everybody's opinions, and that's fine. Like, to each their own, right?
yeah,
But you also try to maintain respect in those opinions, because I don't have to agree with you, and I'm probably not going to agree with you. If we are on different sides of the fence, that's fine.
yeah,
I'll respect yours if you respect mine. And it's kind of like my whole belief in the things that I believe in, just, from my religious standpoint, which I don't even really
mhm,
like that word religion, but um, I know that there are people who watch my channel and they don't
yeah,
like believe in God or anything, but I do. And I say it all the time. I love the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
yep,
I'm here for it all day, any day, every day, 7 days a week. You ain't going to stop me from saying it.
yep,
But there are people who don't believe in it, right? And that's fine. Like, I understand if you don't believe in it. That's fine. You're not the first person I've met in this lifetime who doesn't, but I'm not going to try to convert you if you're not ready for that. Because the way I look at it is, if Jesus wants you, you ain't gonna be able to tell him no. I
yeah,
dare you. Try.
yep,
You ain't gonna be able to.
exactly. I'm with you on that.
That's where I found myself where I am now with my faith, is because I couldn't say no to Jesus. Like,
Yep,
okay, he said something, I said, okay, I'm here for it. There it is. And so my opinions in that respect are not going to align with everybody who watches the channel, but I always say it on my channel whenever I am in like, whenever I am listening to a song that is related to that, whether it's no matter what the genre is. I've heard
yeah,
all kinds of genres in this channel now, and it could be about like your belief system, right? And so I've always said it, like, I get it. If you don't, I respect that. Please respect mine, and I move on. So I try to be respectful when I'm making comments, and it can be so taxing to have to remember all of
well,
those things. And it's not as easy as it looks. And then there's only so many adjectives you can use too. I mean, let's be honest.
very true.
You have a thesaurus in your brain.
Yeah, very true, very true. It's tough because I feel like we've lost that whole ability to just have civil discourse. Like
Yeah.
everyone just quick to be militant, and I'm like, the hell, I don't understand that. We used to be able to agree to disagree, and that should be fine. Like that should be the way to go. And
What I've
that's
noticed is that it depends. Are you on an individual basis or are you in the middle of a herd?
well, it
In the
depends.
middle of a herd, you ain't going to have civil discourse. If it's
Yeah.
individual basis, I find I usually can.
Yeah. I feel like you can reach the individual, you can't reach the masses, kind of
Hmm.
thing. And the masses are going to do what they do.
Yeah.
But it's tough, because you do have to play along the lines of YouTube. I tell people, I'm subcontractor for YouTube. It's kind of how it works. They lay the rules and guidelines, and I'm figuring my way out through it.
Mm.
Abiding by the house rules per se.
Yeah.
And you have that mental checklist when you're reacting, right?
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, did I do this? And it's a little bit tough. It's a little bit tough because at the end of the a reaction, you're just like, I'm drained. Like where do we
Yeah.
go? And a lot of times those reactions, right? I can only do so many of a certain type of reaction a day.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't do if I'm trying to bank content, right, for the rest of the week or whatever. I'm
Hmm.
not going to listen to 8 Dimash songs in a row and then follow that with 8 Angelina Jordan songs in a row. You know what I mean? Like I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
It has to be broken up because of that emotional attachment that you have to the song.
Hmm.
I mean, granted, I could probably knock out 20 Electric Callboy songs in a day because they're freaking fun.
Oh, yeah.
They're just, if there was anyone on the literally on the channel, um, if there's anyone I would ever drink with, and I'm not a big drinker, I would drink
Hmm.
with those guys. Like if there's anyone I wanted to like organize a party for me, it would be those guys.
Oh, they would have a blast with you.
Oh man, I'm like, you guys are the event planners gone wild. That could
Right.
actually master music. That's you. You guys put
Hmm.
on a spectacle for sure. Um, but yeah, no, it's pretty crazy to see, you know, where these journeys, these are, because we have multiple rabbit holes on our channels that
Hmm.
have shaped our where we are now,
Yeah.
right? And it's interesting to see how each of these reaction channels get shaped so uniquely, but we share so many people in the comment section, like
Yeah.
people that I see on my channel, I see on your channel, on Old School Nerds channel. Like it's a massive community. And that's why, that's the whole reason I was that pushed me to do these kind of interviews with other content creators. I was like, I want us to be plugged in too.
Yeah.
Every one of them knows each other because they just came from the other video on the other
What
reactors channel.
and what a lot of people don't realize
Excuse
is
me.
that the being a reactor on YouTube is relatively lonely.
Yeah.
And if not for people like you or Old School, or I have a group of content creators that I talk to, and we're always in constant communication. If not for those people reaching out to me, um, I would be so lost doing this. I really would be. So there's a few content creators that are overseas,
Mhm.
and they saw me so frustrated in the beginning once I reached that. So when I started the channel, 3 weeks after I started, I qualified for monetization. Like I hit
Wow.
it real quick
That's very
and
fast.
extremely fast. I mean, I hit 1,000 members or 1,000 subscribers
Mhm.
and 4,000 watch hours very, very fast. And I was surprised at how fast it went, to be perfectly honest with you. Especially when my nephews that are teenagers, right? They're like, Dia, this is going by really quick. They were like, I can't believe you have that many followers already. And I'm like, yeah, me too, right? Like, I'm just as surprised as you are, because who thought? I didn't think one person would listen, let alone as 1,000, especially in such short time. But
Mhm.
that being said, I hit monetization, and then once I hit monetization, everything like hit copyright claim ID, and I'm like, okay, so I've done all this work, I've put in all the time, like I've done all the things, and now it's all copyrighted. And I did the disputes, and then I was doing the appeals, and then my first appeal comes back and it's rejected. And I'm like, well, now what? And then I get a copyright strike. And I didn't, because I was still trying to figure out and navigate through the whole thing. So I was like, oh, shit, right?
Yeah.
And what am I going to do? And I got so very frustrated. And around 5,000 subscribers, this guy, his name's Dice. He's a great guy. He's in St. Lucia, and he reaches out to me and he's like, I have a group of content creators. We all talk to each other. And like 4 people, really.
A massive. Yeah, no, that's cool though.
At the time, that's all there was. And I think there's still 4 people there. And I talk to them all the time. And he was like, we can help you understand how this navigates. And I'm like, oh, okay. That was like the first time someone had reached out to me. And so there are several content creators, and I've spoken to a total of 6 other people between the 4 in this one group and then Old School and you. That's it. 6. And there's, I'm doing this. 6. Yeah. 6. Yeah. I am hooked on phonics, I promise. So, 6 people, and look at how many reactors are out there. So it is very lonely being a reactor and trying to figure this out on your own. It's not something that there's so many rules, and there's so many things you have to read, and there's so many things you have to do, and there's so much things you got to be careful about. And you don't want to, like, for lack of a better words, you don't want to piss off the people watching your reaction, because you want to attract people to you. You want them to be in this community with you, right? And then you're trying to navigate this, and there's no real space for reactors to come together and say, hey, what are you doing? Or, hey, what are you doing? Hey, have you heard this song? Have you heard that song? You should really need to check this one out. There's no real space for that. And so, it's the life of a reactor on YouTube, or any content creator on YouTube, for the most part, is quite lonely.
Yeah, it's definitely tough, because I'll put this out there for everyone watching. It's like, what we have to vent about, 90% of people, unless you're doing this, you won't understand. Like, and it's nothing like, not because sometimes I just talk to my wife like, listen, I'm gonna vent. Don't let one thing go in one ear out the other, because you're not gonna understand it. But I got to get it off my chest, And but it helps when you have those people that are walking that walk with you, and like, okay, yeah, that's tough. This is what I did. And another thing, kind of adding to that, it's annoying that what works for one channel doesn't mean it's going to work for another channel.
Yeah.
And that to me, if I could choose anything to fix, it would be that. Like, if I could give you some sort of tip, because any tip that I give anyone is like, well, this is what works for me, but take that with a grain of salt, because it may not work for you. Because a lot of stuff that you could get through, I can't get through. And I've seen that on all our channels. We all have one video or something that we get through that no one else can, and it's like, there's no rhyme or reason. There's no, whatever it is, there's no, this is the rules for everyone.
Yeah.
And that makes it super hard to help within the community, because you're just basically bartering tips and tricks, and really no super way to help, other than just being there for the other person. And like you said, it's really lonely out there, and it's really important to be a part, to really, what we're doing is kind of like making our own community here. It's like, everyone else is connected, we're gonna be connected too. It's time to talk to everyone, and I feel like the more people we talk to, the more people we have in this community, the more people that we can reach out and actually come in contact with and help, or maybe not necessarily not help, but like stay out of the way of, because some people, they might view others as competition. That's not my mindset at all. I feel like we get to the top together. That's how it is. You know, you don't want to be the first one to the top.
I admire. There's some people that are reactors, and I'm looking at them like, I want to be you when I grow up. Like, you're awesome.
Yeah.
Right. And they don't even listen to the same music that I react to. Like, what I react to, they don't react to at all. But it's just, you know, and this is one of the things that Old School and I had a conversation about this a while back, and it's actually pretty valid. You're going to attract like-minded people that that gravitate towards your personality, right? So if you're a sports guy and you're doing reactions to sports and stuff like that, you're going to attract all those like-minded individuals. If you're someone like me, a mom who's trying to figure out what's good and popular in music these days, I'm probably going to attract a lot of those, you know, type of demographic.
Yeah.
And so, that also plays a part into it. So I could be looking at, you know, the latest and greatest from Eminem. I could be looking at the latest and greatest from Beyonce, and I'm not going to draw the crowd that someone else's personality would draw.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like, I'm not a fan of the secular music. I am a fan of Eminem and his lyrics, because his lyrics kind of give you a 1-2 punch and you don't see what's coming until the end. But like, you don't see a whole lot of it. And so when, you know, I had this one guy, it was so funny, and I didn't even care that he said, I laughed when I read it. He's like, I have secondhand embarrassment for you because you're a mom trying to be cool listening to Eminem.
No.
And so on the next Eminem video, I mentioned it. I was like, but you still watched, you know?
Yeah.
Thanks. So that was it. Like, you can have secondhand embarrassment with me. It's okay. I don't mind. I mean, that's just the mom in me.
Yeah.
It is, you know, and a lot of people, they gravitate towards that kind of humor or, you know, wittiness, or, you know, and so that also plays a key part into it. So when we're looking at each other and we're like, I want to grow just as much as the next person, I also appreciate the individuality of each content creator. And that plays a huge part in the growth of all of our channels, is how individual are we?
Yep. I mean, no one wants a copy and paste. No one wants a copy and paste of another channel, you know, and that's why I love this landscape that we have. These all of our coworkers in this space. You know, there's tens of thousands.
Right. I wish we had like a Teams chat that we can just talk to all of them.
Right. That would be very nice. But hopefully maybe someday we'll get there.
Yeah.
But thank you. Listen, I know you are a very busy person. And is there anything you want to tell anyone that's watching that's made it to the almost hour mark on the channel?
Yeah, I am going to be recording again here soon. So for all those who have sponsored a request and is waiting patiently for me to get to those requests, I really, really appreciate it. I have been I went to Vegas twice, and both times I caught COVID. So clearly what happens there doesn't stay there. So I just got back from Vegas like at the end of July and caught COVID, and then I recovered, and my husband caught COVID, and then my brother was on a cruise. So my nephew is with us. And so I'm here taking care of my husband and my nephew. And then like this week I had to travel to Minnesota for work, and then just got back at 1:30 this morning. So I am exhausted. I'm probably not going to record anything today because I just want to go to bed and hit that pillow hard.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm hoping that sometime this weekend, if not by Monday, I'll be able to do some recordings for those sponsored requests. But also I'm trying to grow my TikTok channel. So come follow me over there.
Yes.
You know, I mean, all the stuff is like, if you go to one of my reactions, it's in the description box, the link. It's the same handle. It's Why Am I Reacting? It's the same handle. You can't miss it.
And where's the description?
The description?
Yeah. Oh my God. That's my biggest bone to pick with everyone on YouTube. The stuff you guys can find by clicking that little more, and there's a drop down. There's literally everything you need.
I tell them just like scroll over there real quick and just, you know, it's there.
That's why this little banner that's rolling around, all the links, all your links, I'll put in the description of the video.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, it's there. I'm not hiding anything from anyone.
And to make it easier, you can go to any of the social media. You can go to TikTok, you can go to Instagram, you can go to, I don't have Facebook. I used to have Patreon, but even if I get Patreon back, it's still going to be the same handle. Why am I reacting? It's not that hard.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
There we
So
go.
it's like, it's not like I'm doing it. Why am I reacting 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, and then, 7, 8, 9.
You totally should do that.
Wouldn't that be so funny if I did?
Like this is the 1, 2, 3, and then this other one is the 4, 5, 6, and then just make it overcomplicated.
Yeah, it is so fun. I would absolutely. You know what? I might do that as a prank one day.
You totally should. There's so many times I've thought about just reaching into our little creator pool and just trolling the internet for one video. We should all just do one video, just one obscure reaction to something.
And I would be down for that.
And see what it does to the numbers. Like, see if that kicks that out somewhere.
Oh my, I am so down for that. If you do that, I am so in. I'm so in. I would totally love to do. I've always wanted to do like a big group reaction to a song. I think that would be really, really cool. So if you do something like that, let me know. I will totally go in there. And of course, I talk a lot,
I think it would be so fun just to do it once. Just to, I would definitely want to pick like an obscure song that isn't on anyone's radar. It's like the fuck. What are you doing with that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, get it like an old timey one.
Oh yeah,
nobody's ever heard of in the group, and then like we all react and we'll be looking at each other in the camera like, "What the hell is that?"
What is that?
Yeah.
It would just be. I think that would be funny just to at least once before I leave this earth. You know what I mean? Like we gotta try.
Go down. Put me on the list. I'm down. We can do that.
Totally. But guys, listen. For you guys that have stuck through this long, honestly, it's amazing. Go, please go hit that subscribe button like it owes your money over on Why Am I Reacting? Okay, go support that channel. All right, stop watching this and go support her and watch her channel and her journey through all of the rabbit holes she goes and dives down. So thank you again, Maria, for just taking the time out of your day and jumping on our little channel. Thank you so much for making this work.
No, absolutely. Thank you for having me. This was
of course.
Fun. Anytime you want to do this, I'm down.
I'm always down. Eventually, what I want to do is get like a big round table, like a panel with just us, just like all of our people. That'd be a very noisy panel because I think all of us share a common thing with we like to talk.
Yes, right? And I think it would be so eclectic because I'm from country comes. So, and I don't think you are. You don't sound country to me at all.
No, I'm 100% Yank. Well, not really. Maryland. I guess I'm on the line.
That's north of the Dixie line.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought we got cut in half.
No, Virginia got cut in half. I'm south of the Dixie line because I'm just on the southern part of Virginia.
That's hence Maryland, Free State. Got it. Wow. Yep. I'm just putting it all together. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Makes sense. But yeah, no, eventually I want us to get it all together. Maybe a once a month kind of like panel show. That would be fun. Have like a rotation of guests. And that I think that'd be fun.
That would be awesome. I'm down for that. Whenever you want to do it, you just let me know.
Will do. But anyway, guys, thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for rocking with the channel. Guys, make sure you go support Maria and honestly check out the links. There's tons. All right. Make sure you guys unplug and do something legendary. And I will see you all in the next video. Thanks again, Maria.
Thank you. Live fabulously, everyone.